What made you lose respect for someone? My mother. I'd tried for ages to have some kind of relationship with her despite all the hell she put me through, but when she threatened to have my partner arrested because I dared to form a relationship that she hadn't authorized, that's when I knew there was no point in clinging to illusions and I had to get as far away from that woman as possible. Also, my first girlfriend. She would always make me spend every second of my time with her. I wasn't allowed to interact with anyone, and yet she never offered anything in return. If I so much as looked at a stranger, she would interrogate me and demand to know everything about them. My moment of clarity came when I realized it wasn't normal to be so terrified of upsetting her that I was throwing up and getting extremely physically ill every few weeks. I still have nightmares about her sometimes. He said any girl over 13 who got pregnant by rape should suck it up and take care of the child. When they purchased multiple sex dolls and acted like a victim when I didn't want to engage in conversation about how they are no different to any other device a human can use for sexual and non-sexual purposes. I lost respect for my dad when he fucking slapped me across the face when I was 9. Lying for no good reason. There are actually times when it helps someone, but to do it for fun is deplorable. Being a rat. Not much worse in my eyes than a rat. At the end of the day, mind your own business. They abandoned their cats on the side of the road. They used the excuse that they couldn't afford to feed them. There's so many other options, but they chose that route. When an ex-friend played the victim and never accepted any apology I made, yet continually demanded apologies, I realized that she craves confrontation and is so good at manipulating people into talking back to her to make her look like the victim. When I realized her games and shut it down, she lost the fucking plot. She's played the same game with another friend of mine and they've cut her out too now. She still plays the victim and thinks the world is out to get her. But more and more people are realizing she's a Class A narcissist. Constantly lying to seem cool. He once told how he threw a hacksaw at someone and it slit their throat, killing them, and how he buried the body, but didn't get in trouble at all when he reported it to the police. Parents started drinking again after years of sobriety. I appreciate and love that they sobered up early in my childhood and my little sis never grew up seeing them like that. But once I hit 20, they started and all the parent/child boundaries dropped and they essentially started acting like we were drinking buddies instead of their kids. Can't unhear or unsee the things they said or did while wasted. I love them, but the respect that was there is gone. Wife beaters and cheaters. Friend of mine moved to Florida to be closer to Trump because he thinks he's still president and is running the country from there. It's the little things really. Might be a bit cliche, but I had a pretty close, online, friend who started making up shit about my friends from school to me trying to convince me not to hang out with them. I was talking to friends about M, who is witty and handy. They said they wanted to meet M. After dinner together, the couple kept talking about what they could get M to fix around the house for free. I told them they had better not. I was fighting with someone in middle school because he was pushing me in the locker and all kind of stuffs, and when I approach my hand to pick him up after the fight, there's no need to be rude after learning a lesson, he spit on me. I've let his hand go and let him fall on his back. Few years later, the same guy was accused of rape attempts and multiple sexual behaviors. I don't remember exactly what he was charged with. So yeah, still fuck you dude. Former friend was not taking the pandemic seriously at all. Took her 4-year-old to a water park resort thing. Stopped talking to her. All it takes is a lie. For instance, I've been out with friends and one has told a waitstaff they were sorry they couldn't tip more, but they could have. Yeah, nah. Being lied to about asking and sending nudes. I had a couple of friends who I'd hang out with all the time. Slowly over the years it became me doing all the arranging of stuff and contacting them to meet up. After a while I'd had enough and thought I'd let them contact me next time we got together. Never heard from either of them again. Every single goddamn former friend going on vacation during the pandemic while I was picking up multiple extra shifts each week in the COVID unit. My brother got out of the car and just walked home. It was the day our grandma died, and when I picked him up everything was fine. Then he asked if I could pick up his GF later from work. I said no, and his demeanor just changed. He said to just let him out at the next stop, and when he got out, that was it. No I'm sorry, no hug, nothing. He just walked away and didn't look back, and I did the same. He even tried justifying everything and making excuses. Just like he'd done every other time he'd hurt me. I didn't understand. He was in the right all along and I got it all wrong. Makes sense that one of his favorite bands is the Gaslight Anthem. Lies. An ex-friend of mine who decided to study law to fight injustice in this world called me in the middle of the day offering to give me money if I solved an examen for her. Hypocrisy. Realizing my partner has been disrespecting me in various ways for 8 years. I was making excuses for his behavior for 8 years and attempting to understand him. Embarrassed smiley face. You've made my night. Thanks for making me laugh, ah. I was told my papa used to beat my nan when they were married whenever he got drunk. Why? My Christian oldest sister having a long-term affair with a married friend from high school, all while being friends with the wife too. How can you go to somebody's house for holidays then bang the husband after everyone goes to sleep? Just gross. Lied about a health condition so she could get COVID vaccinations early. She works from home. I'd have supported it if she was a grocery worker or something, because they should have been next in line after healthcare workers. Not only did I lose respect, but eventually all my friends did, for one of the guys in our group. Our friend is still a part of our group but has never gained respect from each person. My friend is 26 years old, with zero education and no proper job. His visa is always closed to maxed out, and never has money for anything. Because of his financial problems he is also extremely cheap. Never offers to drive anywhere, and if he has to drive he will try his best to get out of the situation. This is all fine with him not having a career, but the real issue is his attitude about it. He has admitted before that he is self-conscious about him not being educated or having a career, which causes him to demand respect, even though no one disrespects him. He will try to act like he is doing better than anyone else in the group, but in reality he is not at all. Lack of integrity. Them considering everyone who is less successful, money, career, to be a stupid person who deserves to be beneath her, while people who are more successful are just lucky. That said person also complains a lot about being unlucky and deserving more. Someone who demanded a lot of my time and attention, and felt hard done to when people didn't make a big fuss over her big days. Didn't care to meet up with me after I'd been living abroad for a year. Or didn't message on my B-day. Or message when my granddad died. And I realized that if you have to nicely ask a friend to remember to talk to you once in a while, they're probably not much of a friend. At the time, I considered her my best friend, which is why I lost so much respect for her over the whole situation. I told her everything and always kept her in the loop. I promised myself after she didn't reach out for my B-day, that I was no longer making the effort to chase after people. I needed to focus on me for a while. My granddad died within a fortnight of that, and I was obviously upset and doubled down on my decision to focus on myself, and let her reach out when she felt like reaching out to me. Folks, it's been 19 months. I don't think she feels like talking to me, skull. My roommate, also former best friend, kicked me out and gave me a week to leave when there was only 30 days left on our lease. Self-inflicted ignorance, works every time. A co-worker takes the handicap stall in front of the store all day. 9-hour shift. He does have a sticker, but this spot has the size for wheelchairs to come out. He could take a smaller spot next to it. From 7 to 4, no one can use it. Completely selfish to me. Drugs and becoming a shit parent. The type that posts old pics on social media acting like he is the world's best dad, but in reality he hasn't seen them in years. When the husband of my co-worker calls late into the night, and leaves a voicemail saying every married man needs a mistress. I told my co-worker, but they didn't believe me, and I became so uncomfortable hanging out with my coworker that I slowly distanced myself and left the shitty job I was working. Having a fan base of impressionable teens that send death threats to innocent people, and not making an attempt to put a stop to it. In before I get downvoted to hell and back.